All right. Good afternoon, all of you. Yes. So these are the topics which you are better at it already. So you have already studied them in detail in your biology. Correct? Yes. Good afternoon, Sujit. So what I'll do is I'll take you through. I'll do a brief synopsis of nucleic acids, and then we can move to polymers. We'll do some questions on this. All right. If there is any point of time which you don't understand what is happening over here, please message. I'll try to explain in detail. So I'll give you a glimpse of what are nucleic acids. All of you know about it better already, correct? So I'm assuming that you're a biology student, you know about it already. In case you don't know anything, please let me know. Right. So what are nucleic acids? So first of all, nucleic acids are polynucleotides. I'll come to that. What is polynucleotides? They are polymer of nucleotides. They are polymer of nuclei. They are polymer of nucleotides. We'll come to that, right? First, let us see why we need them, where they originate and all. So see here, yes, the particles, I guess, let me zoom it out. Yes, better. So you can see here, the particles in the nucleus of the cell responsible for the hereditary transformation are called chromosomes. Chromosomes are responsible for your transformation of hereditary information, right? Which are made up of proteins and other type of biomolecules are called nucleic acids. Okay? So basically your chromosomes, right, are made up of your different types of proteins, other biomolecules which are relevant for your biological functions, together comprise nucleotides. Chemically, their definition chemically is they are polymer of nucleotides, right? So we'll come to the structural definition also. Nucleotides, nucleic acids are named so because they are associated with the cell nuclei, right? And they show acidic properties. Therefore, they are nucleic acids. Because of phosphate group, basically phosphoric acid is there. That's why they are acidic species. And they are associated with they are present in cell nucleus. They are associated with cell nuclei. Therefore, they are called nuclei, right? Coming to the types of nucleic acids, there are two types: deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid, DNA, RNA. Right? Now, DNA is found predominantly in cell wall, cell basically. DNA is predominantly found in cell, while RNA is predominant in cytoplasm. You find RNA in cytoplasm. Can you recall where RNA is present? There are three types of RNA actually. So we can't generally say they are present at one location, right? Okay, where is ribosomal RNA present? Anyone? rRNA. Obviously, they're present at ribosomes. Where are ribosomes present? Where are ribosomes present? Yes, RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. So this is what makes them different from your endoplasmic reticulum, right? Smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Nikhil, I think mitochondria they are there, but not rRNA. Okay, ribosomal RNA. Right, now let us see the classification of nucleic acid based upon the sugar present in them. So now any nucleic acid, yes, mitochondria has a DNA. So any nucleic acid comprises of three things, right? Any nucleic acid comprises of three things: pentose sugar, heterocyclic bases, and phosphoric acid. These three things together form nucleic acids. The combination of nitrogenous base and pentose sugar is called nucleoside. They're called nucleoside. And when you add phosphate group to it, then together they are called nucleotide. I hope it is clear. So when you take a nitrogenous base, combine it with pentose sugar means 5-carbon sugar. Then it is called nucleoside. and if you add phosphoric acid to it, then it is called nucleotide. Correct? Now let us see what are the different nitrogenous base, what are the sugar present here, right? The heterocyclic bases are derivatives of purines and pyrimidines, right? So purines and pyrimidines ke form mein they are present. I'll come to the structures also. Therefore, we find two types of bases in nucleic acids, either purine bases or pyrimidine bases. So these heterocyclic bases are either they are purines or they are pyrimidines. Okay? I'll come to all of their purines and pyrimidines structure also. Now, component of RNA. Component of RNA. So please see this carefully. Component of RNA. So RNA has, so this was the components of like general components. Now components of RNA is also pentose sugar, heterocyclic base, phosphoric acid. Now which heterocyclic bases are present in RNA? Adenine, guanine are the purine bases present in RNA. Cytosine, uracil are the pyrimidine bases present in RNA. Which nitrogenous base is not present in RNA? Which nitrogenous base is not present in RNA? Thymine is not present in RNA. Is it clear? Thymine is not present in RNA. Now let us see this. What are the different purine bases? There are two types of purine bases. That is adenine and guanine. Pyridine bases are of three types: cytosine, uracil, thymine. Easy way to remember it: cut. This is cut. So cut are pyrimidine bases. Cytosine, uracil, thymine are pyrimidine bases. Adenine, guanine are purine bases. We'll come to their structures also. The base present only in RNA, not in DNA. Which is the base present only in RNA but not in DNA? Uracil. What is the base present only in DNA, not in RNA? Thymine. Is it clear? Thymine. Then bases which is present in both of them is adenine, guanine, cytosine. So RNA has adenine, guanine, cytosine, uracil, right? DNA has adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, right? Now, a nucleoside is a product when pentose sugar at position 1 combines with heterocyclic base. This is what I told you. A pentose sugar and a heterocyclic base combines to form a nucleoside and water is eliminated. I'll show it to you. What are the different nitrogenous bases you have, right? Now, yes, here I have a slide over here. You can see all the nitrogenous bases here, right? These are the structures. I'll come back to the structures again. So please pay attention. Now, what is the pentose sugar we are going to use? We are going to use ribose sugar, right? What is ribose? It is a 5-membered sugar present in furan ring. So see carefully, this is the first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon. Okay? Now this is a ribose sugar. If second position, say you remove this oxygen group, you get only hydrogen. Then it is called deoxyribose. If you remove oxygen from the second carbon of the ribose, you get only hydrogen left. That is called 2-deoxyribose. You have removed the oxygen. So this is present in, this sugar is present in RNA. Sorry. This sugar is present in DNA. And this is present in RNA. Right? This is present in RNA. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. So DNA includes deoxyribose. Now let us see how do they combine. So all of you please pay attention. I'll draw it here for you. If I take this pentose sugar, right? I'll take OH here, H here. This is my first carbon. Second carbon is HOH. Third carbon is again HOH. This is again CH2OH and H. This is my pentose sugar. Now let me take adenine or guanine, whichever one you want. Let's take adenine only. Let us take adenine only. Let me take adenine. So if I take adenine, I can draw adenine like this. This is my nitrogenous base adenine. Right? Here you have NH2. Here you have NH. Now let's see how the reaction happens. So this is your nitrogenous base and this is your pentose sugar. So these two will combine to eliminate a molecule of water, right? When this happens, everything remains same. You'll get this carbon bonded to nitrogen. Now this carbon and nitrogen will form a bond. Okay? I hope it is clear. Now together this pentose sugar and nitrogen base is called nucleoside. This is called nucleoside. I hope it is clear that a sugar and nitrogenous base combines to form a nucleoside. Okay? Let us come back. So I hope I have shown you the nucleoside carefully. Now see this. Nucleosides containing ribose are called ribonucleosides, and the containing deoxyribose sugar is called deoxyribonucleosides, right? Now, nucleotides. What are nucleotides? When you combine nucleoside with phosphoric acid, you get nucleotide plus water. See carefully what happens. Nucleotides are esters formed by reaction between nucleosides and phosphoric acid at position 5. So at 5th position, phosphoric acid and your nucleoside will combine to form a ester bond. Let us see how. So I will take the same example, right? So now let me take phosphoric acid here, right? Let me take POH, OH, double bond O, OH. So this is first, let me number it. This was my first carbon of ribose, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now fifth carbon of this and phosphoric acid will eliminate a molecule of water. Okay? Now there will be a bond. See carefully. See carefully. This is your carbon. So R, P double bond O, you'll get phosphoric acid. I'll draw it again. Please check this out. I'm drawing it again. Let me copy it first. Just a minute. Just a minute. Yes. You can see this, right? So this is what you are going to get, correct? Now, if you take this, another molecule of phosphoric acid, you can take another molecule of phosphoric acid. Yes. P double bond O, OH, OH, OH. Then again you eliminate a molecule of water, and after eliminating a molecule of water, what will you be left with? After removing water, you will get, there'll be oxygen in between these two. Now this is called, see carefully. Let me remove this water also. Then you will get, after you have removed water from here, you'll get carbon, oxygen, phosphorus. So carbon, oxygen, phosphorus. You'll get this. So what I'm trying to say here is, you have R here, right? O here, P double bond O here. So basically it is what? R, CO, O, R. So it is an ester bond, correct? Now, if you consider this part, there is a CO group here also, CO group here also, oxygen here. So if you have R, CO, O, CO, R. So there are 2 times ester. Therefore, it is called phosphodiester bond. Phosphodiester bond, right? Phosphodiester linkage. If you repeat it 3 phosphates, then this adenine plus its nitrogenous sugar. Sugar plus adenine. Sugar plus adenine is called adenosine. Adenosine, correct? And if you repeat 3 phosphate group, 1, 2 I have done, add one more. So if you add one more phosphate, it will become adenosine triphosphate. Since I have added 2 phosphate, let me write adenosine diphosphate. So this together is called nucleotide. It is called nucleotide. This together is called nucleotide. I hope this is clear. So I am removing this part. Yes. So I hope it is clear. Now let us see carefully. Let us see carefully. In this, what have you done? You have taken only one nucleotide. This is one nucleotide. Now, if this nucleotide combines with another nucleotide, you get a polymer. That is called polynucleotide and nucleic acids. Correct? Yes, guys. Any doubt in this, please ask. It can be diphosphate also. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. You have ATPs, no? What are your ATPs? ADPs. Adenosine monophosphate exists. Adenosine triphosphates exist. Adenosine diphosphates also exist. Yes. Any doubt in this, guys? Structure? Is this structure clear to everyone? This is a nucleotide structure. This is a structure of nucleotide. If anybody has any doubt in this structure, please ask. You can say this. For DNA, they are monophosphates. You can say that. But they can exist as di and tri also. For DNA, it is monophosphate which are used. That is true. I'll come to that also. Yes, guys. Any doubts in this? Anyone? Sleeping people? By the way, tomorrow we'll finish your syllabus. Probably tomorrow will be our last class. Right. So no one has any doubt. Rupa, yes means you have doubt. All right. So this is your nucleotide. I'm assuming now, since you guys are not replying, that means you guys know this. So I'm going to go a little fast on this. So this is your nucleotide structure, right? If you take adenine, it is called adenosine phosphate. If you take guanine, it is called guanosine phosphate. Cytosine, it is called cytosine phosphate, right? So accordingly, I know about chemistry, Shamita. Chemistry, tomorrow we'll finish chemistry every life, for sure. Right. So guys, you see here, some examples I have taken here. This bond is from here. So this is your ATP. So ATP, you can see, again, ROCO, you get a ester bond, right? You see here, ester group. Can you see this is, let me zoom it out. This is C double bond OO. This is ester group. C double bond OO, right? COO. Instead of carbon, you have phosphorus. So this is ester. This is also ester. There are 2 ester. Therefore, it is called diester, phosphodiester bond. Okay. So ATP mein you have 3 phosphate. So therefore, it is called adenine ka nucleoside. It is. It's a nucleotide of adenine. So adenosine triphosphate. Similarly, here you have used. Let us see which nitrogenous base it is. You have used methyl one, thymine, right? So it is how many phosphate? Thymine. It is TTP, thymine triphosphate. It is TTP, thymine triphosphate. So then why you can see here, nucleotide has more than 1 phosphate. So then why you can see here, nucleotide have more than 1 phosphate. All right. So now let us move ahead to the polynucleotide structure. How does the polynucleotide structure takes place? How the structure takes place? So what I'm going to do is, see carefully. I'm going to copy the same structure and tell you how the polynucleotides are formed. So yes, let us take this and modify this. Yes, so this is our structure. So what we can do is, we can delete some of the phosphate groups, right? Now see carefully. So let this be O, P double bond O, OH, OH. This is monophosphate. Now what happens is, this is your fifth carbon. So now fifth carbon is occupied. What will happen? What will happen is, this third carbon OH will combine with phosphorus of other nucleotide. So again water will be eliminated and you'll have double bond O, you'll have OCH2 of ring, CH2 of ring, there is a 5-membered ring. Let me take it little up. Yes. So let us draw pentose sugar here. This is our pentose sugar, CH2, and this is bonded through oxygen, H. Here you have H, here you have OH. Now here, instead of adenine, let me take some other nitrogenous base like thymine. Let me take thymine, right? So thymine will be, just a minute, it will be a 6-membered ring, nitrogen, double bond, methyl, right? COCONH. Yes, so it is C double bond O, NH, NH, double bond. Now you should understand one thing carefully, that this is CONH bond. It can undergo tautomerization whenever it wants. It can undergo tautomerization whenever it wants and form double bond here, OH here. It can exist in that form also, tautomerization form, right? Right. Now, in this also there is a hydrogen. In this also there is a hydrogen which will be eliminated as water molecule. So let us remove water molecule and write. So this will become carbon bonded to this nitrogen, right? So this is the structure you are going to get, HOH, HOH. Now see carefully, HOH. Now see carefully, in this case, the next nucleotide is joined between third carbon of the first nucleotide and OH of the phosphate, correct? Now what do you see here is, which end is free? So here we have adenine bonded to thymine, right? And which end of adenine is free? 5'. Which end of thymine is free? OH, because now this OH can further react, but it is now free. So third 3' is free for this nucleotide. It's a dinucleotide. Similarly, after thymine, I can attach cytosine, I can attach guanine. So it is running from 5' to 3'. So now see, I have repeated lot of nucleotides and I got a polynucleotide. Now this polynucleotide is called nucleic acid. This polynucleotide is called nucleic acid. Now we'll see the structures of nucleic acids. We'll see the structures of these nucleic acids. So we are going towards structure of these nucleic acids. So see here, there are following structures. Primary structure, like protein, the primary structure represent the sequence in which the structure of nucleotide is based. For example, what does it represent? It represents after adenine, thymine comes, cytosine comes. So what is the order of the different nucleotides you have arranged? So this represents your primary structure of nucleic acids. Coming to secondary structure. So when this long polypeptide chain, right, adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, this long polypeptide chain, when it starts turning like protein, when it starts turning, folding, it gives rise to secondary structure. So the secondary structure of DNA, basically, let's see. So DNA molecule consists of two polynucleotide chains. If there is only one chain, then it is RNA. If there are two chains, complementary chains, then it is DNA. So each strand is coiled in the form of helix, and two strands are coiled about each other to form a double helix. That means, let us come to the structures. Yes. So you can see here, so one strand you can see here is 5' to 3'. If the first strand may 5' and 3' it is running, the second strand will be running 3' to 5', right? Now these two strands run anti-parallel. They run in opposite direction. That means 5' to 3', then 3' to 5'. They run in opposite direction, right? Now the bases are perpendicular to the helix. Bases are perpendicular to the helix. If this is your, let me write it here. If this is your helix, then bases are perpendicular to it. Bases will be arranged like this, stacked like this, right? And there is a complementary base pairing. There's a complementary base pairing. That means adenine will bind to thymine by 2 hydrogen bonds, and guanine will bind to cytosine by 3 hydrogen bonds. This is very, very important. Adenine binds to thymine, guanine binds to cytosine only. So for that matter, if your first strand has a base sequence AGCTAC, so adenine will bind to thymine, guanine will bind to cytosine, cytosine will again bind to guanine, then thymine, adenine, adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. So your complementary base second strand will have the base pair of thymine, cytosine, guanine, adenine, thymine, guanine. This is how you write the complementary base pair. Adenine with thymine, thymine with adenine, guanine with cytosine, cytosine with guanine. Okay? Now this is how this is due to hydrogen bond. You can write that this is due to hydrogen bonds. Okay? Now coming back to DNA and RNA structure, right? You know the difference between them already. There is a D-ribose sugar here, deoxyribose sugar here. You have a ribose sugar here. The basis, extra basis present in DNA is thymine. Here you have uracil, right? And it's a double-stranded alpha helix structure. It is a single-stranded alpha helix structure. It's a primary genetic material. It's not a primary genetic material. It is only of one type. It is of 3 types: tRNA, mRNA, and rRNA. It is self-replication possible. There is no self-replication possible in RNA. Okay? It can just modify. It can evolve, right? Now, mRNA, what is the role? It carries message to DNA for the specific protein synthesis, right? Now, DNA say ribosome pe, the message comes for, all those things, codon, anticodon, all those things, right? I am not going to details of that. So DNA sends the message ki haan, now after alanine, you attach phenylalanine. So those all message from DNA to ribosomes is carried by mRNA, right? Ribosomal RNA provides the site for protein synthesis. Protein synthesis happens at ribosomes. Okay? Transfer RNA, it requires the amino acid for the site of photosynthesis. Let's say after alanine, you require phenylalanine. So who will bring phenylalanine? Message ki haan, after alanine, phenylalanine has to be attached will be brought by mRNA. But where is phenylalanine? Who is going to get it? tRNA will go and get it. Okay? So these are different nucleic acids. That's all we need to discuss in nucleic acids. Okay? From chemistry point of view. Now vitamins, you don't have to study more in detail. There is a textbook table. If you are able to do this, this will be sufficient for this chapter. Okay? Now let us see what are vitamins. right? Vitamins are the supplements you need to take in your diet, which are responsible for the growth of the body and maintenance of the good growth and health of your body, that are called vitamins. Earlier, it was assumed that most of the vitamins contains amines functional group, therefore they were named as vitamine. But later on, it was observed that it is not the case. Not all vitamins have amine group. Therefore, the E was dropped and they were written as vitamin, right? There are two types, fat soluble and water soluble. So you have A, B, C, D, E, K. 6 vitamins are there, right? Out of which fat soluble are A, D, E, K, right? They are stored in liver and adipose tissue where the fat is stored. And water soluble vitamins are B and C. So B and C are your water soluble vitamins. Now this table you have to go through and remember it. That vitamin A ki deficiency say you get which disease? You get xerothalmia, right? Vitamin B1 say you get beriberi. These questions are never asked, but still in case it is asked. Vitamin D, C deficiency say you get scurvy. And what are their sources? Even if you don't read it, it's fine. But these two columns are important. Deficiency and disease. Okay? I think that's all for this chapter, guys. Let's do some questions on it. Yes. This is one of the obvious question you can answer here on this topic. Being a bio student, you should be able to do it very easily. You don't get much questions from nucleic acids and vitamins. Biomolecules in chemistry, you get majority question from carbohydrates or proteins. We'll discuss one question of proteins also. Yes, now this is quite easy for you. I know that. But still, I've seen one person has done it wrong. Still 3 people have done it wrong. That's great. All right. So this, since it's an easy question, let's end it fast. So we will end this on account of 3, 2, 1. Now. Yes. So adenine ka complementary base pair will be thymine. Thymine ka adenine, guanine ka cytosine, cytosine ka guanine, adenine, adenine, guanine ka cytosine, then adenine ka thymine. So AACT, AACT. So last 4 is AACT. So correct answer is D, which many of you answered, but still there are 3 people who have answered it wrong. Yeah. Now check this one. In a hydrogen bonding for the base pairs of DNA are between carbonyl group of amide and NH2 only, amide NH and cyclic amine nitrogen only, alcohols and carbonyls only, or both A and B. All right, I forgot to raise the poll. Yeah, you can see the poll now. So these kind of questions only you can expect in your exam. All right, so let's end this on account of 3, 2, 1 now. Yes, so the correct answer is D, as answered by many of you, right? So amide carbonyl and NH2 only, and amide NH and cyclic amine nitrogen only. Let me show you how it can be done. See here, if these two come together, right? Let's say adenine and thymine comes together. So let me draw thymine over here for you. If thymine comes together, right? There is a CO group. So C oxygen can form hydrogen bond with carbonyl of amide, can form a hydrogen bond with this. Yes. And the next statement was amide NH and cyclic amine nitrogen, right? Amide NH and cyclic amine nitrogen. That can also be done. Yes. So amide NH and cyclic amine nitrogen. You can draw the hydrogen bond, cyclic amine nitrogen. You can either take this, right? So this can also be done. Amide ka NH and cyclic amine ka nitrogen will form a hydrogen bond. So these are the different types of hydrogen bond which can be possible. Now let me give you one question from proteins also. It's a good question. Yes, try solving this question, guys. Try solving this question. It's a good question. Since you are a bio student, you should be able to do it easily. It's a tetrapeptide. I hope you remember what are tetrapeptides. Post this, we'll move towards our polymers. It is a tetrapeptide. Tetrapeptide has COH group on alanine. Hints are given. It's a easy. How many possible sequences are there where NH2 group is attached to chiral center? This is very important. Let me raise a poll. If you are able to answer it, good. Okay, let me give you the options for this. 2, 4, 6, 3. Right? Now I have given you the options. Let me raise a poll for this. All right, so there's a mixed reactions here. Fine, let's end this, guys, on a count of 3, 2, 1. We are ending it now. So this is not an easy question, but since you are bio student, you should be able to do it easily. So tetrapeptide means there are 4 peptides, right? 4 amino acids. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is C-terminal amino acid, which has COH group free. This is N-terminal amino acid, which have NH2 group free. So he's saying COH group is always on alanine. So this is always alanine, correct? Now what about these 3 remaining? He's saying the other amino acids are glycine, valine, and phenylalanine. We have to arrange these 3. On complete hydrolysis, we get these 4 amino acids. We have these 4 amino acids in a peptide. For this tetrapeptide, number of possible sequences with NH2 group on chiral center, right? NH2 group on chiral center. That means what can come here? N-terminal amino acid. So among all the amino acids, all amino acids are chiral, except one amino acid. Which is the amino acid which is not chiral? Which is the amino acid which is not chiral? Glycine. Glycine is not chiral. Why? Because there are 2 hydrogen atoms on glycine. So it is not chiral, correct? That means glycine cannot come here. Glycine cannot come on the first position. Glycine cannot come here because he's saying NH2 group should be attached to chiral center. That means this NH2 group, N-terminal amino acid, should be chiral. So glycine is not chiral, so it cannot be glycine here. So either you can have phenylalanine here, right? Or you can have valine here. These two. If phenylalanine is here, then you can have valine here and glycine here. Or what is the other possibility? Phenylalanine here, glycine here, valine here. Alanine remain as it is. Now, if valine is on N-terminal, then you can have glycine, phenylalanine, and alanine as it is. Last also alanine as it is, valine here. Then interchange these two, phenylalanine and glycine. So total, how many combinations are possible? How many combinations are you seeing here? 4. So such 4 sequences are possible for this tetrapeptide. Please check this question again. If you have any doubt, please ask. The correct answer is B. Please check this question again. If you have any doubts, please ask. Check the question again. If you have any doubts, please ask. Right, guys. Have you understood this? Yes. Have you all understood this? Nobody is speaking anything. Okay, Bharat. So Bharat has got it. So you have to just read the statement very carefully. You have to read the statement very carefully and then attempt this question. Okay? All right. Now, let's move towards our next chapter. That is polymers. That is polymers. Right? So I'll take you through all the definitions involved here. Then what are the polymers and what are the monomers you need to learn. Okay. Now what I have done is I have divided this chapter into 2 topics, definitions and polymers and their monomers. Example. Okay. That's all you need to know in this chapter. Right. So the first, polymers are high molecular substances containing large number of repeating units. For example, if I take n atoms of A and keep repeating it to make one atom or one species in which all these n atoms of A are combined together, then it is called polymerization process. When n species become one, when n species are combined to form one species, so a species obtained for many species is called polymer, right? It has high molecular mass. Now, what are the classification? Based on how they are formed, it can be an addition polymer or it can be a condensation polymer, right? What are addition polymers? Just go through the text which is highlighted. I've already highlighted the important text here. So a polymer formed by addition of repeated monomers without elimination of simple molecules. That means when you keep adding things, do not eliminate any water molecule or ammonia molecule, then such polymers which is obtained by adding monomers without any elimination is called addition polymers. Example is Buna's PVC. What is PVC? PVC is polyvinyl chloride. What is your polyvinyl chloride? In ethene, you replace one hydrogen with Cl. If you take n molecules of this, it will give you CH2, break the double bond into single bond. This carbon one bond is free. This carbon also one bond is free. It will keep combining with each other. How many times? N times. Matlab, it will keep repeating. CH2, CH2, CH2. It will keep going on. So now this H ki jagah, what will you have? Cl. Now this is your polyvinyl chloride. You have just added the vinyl chloride. You have not removed any other small molecules. Okay? Now, the monomers which you use here are unsaturated compounds like alkenes, alkynes, and their derivatives. For example, vinyl chloride is derivative of ethene, because if you replace one hydrogen of ethene with chlorine, you get vinyl chloride. This type of polymerization can take place through free radical mechanism, right? Or ionic species also. This process is called chain growth polymerization. Very important. This process is called chain growth polymerization. Very, very, very important, right? They ask which of the following is an example of chain growth polymerization. That question can be asked. Because it involves successive addition of monomer units to the growing chain in each state, reactive intermediate is produced which gets used in the next stage of the growth of the chain. That means this is one unit, then you add another unit, you got a chain. Then in the next step, again you add one more unit. Chain keeps on growing, right? So during this process, you keep adding the molecule to make your chain growing continuously, right? So every step there is an intermediate which is developed, which is consumed in the next step to form new chain. So this process is called chain growth polymerization. Okay. Now, what are homopolymers? Homopolymers means which are made up of same monomers. So polymers which are made from same monomers are called homopolymers. Okay. Or see here, example is ethene, vinyl chloride also. So you have taken ethene, repeated it n times, break the pi bond, repeat it n times, you'll get polyethene, right? Similarly, vinyl chloride, when you repeated it n times, you got polyvinyl chloride. So here the monomer units every time was what? Vinyl chloride. You're using only one monomer unit. That is vinyl chloride. So therefore it is called homopolymer because it is made up of same monomer units. Copolymers. What are your copolymers? Copolymers are the polymers obtained from two different types of monomers. Copolymers are the polymers obtained from two different types of monomers. Example I have taken here, butadiene and styrene. Okay? Styrene is what? Benzene pe if you take. Styrene also easy to remember, I'll tell you. Ethene you take. In your ethene, remove one hydrogen by benzene. This is your styrene. And in butadiene, what will happen? How polymerization will happen? This bond will break like this. This carbon one bond will be free. Break this bond like this. This carbon, let's say, gets radical. This should also get radical. So this will also break like this. So what do you see? Radical here will combine to form a double bond. CH double bond CH. Then CH2 free bond. Here also CH2 is bonded to this CH. CH2 bonded to CH, which is having phenyl. And then there is a single bond CH2. Repeat it. You'll get the polymer. Okay? This is how you do the polymerization. It is called BUNA-S. Right? BUNA-S is easy to remember. These are examples of synthetic rubber. BUNA-S monomers are what? Bu stands for butadiene. S stands for styrene. BUNA-S में butadiene and styrene. Okay? I hope it is clear. Now, if you take butadiene, same butadiene, and instead of styrene you take acrylonitrile, right? Then your product obtained will be BUNA-N, right? Nitrile, you'll get BUNA-N. We'll come to that. Let us see first condensation polymers. What are condensation polymers? We have done addition polymers. Now condensation polymers. Condensation polymers are the polymers where two monomers will come together, right? Like aldol condensation, and some small molecules like water and all will be eliminated, right? Example is nylon 6,6. Nylon 6,6 is made up of what? Hexamethylene. CH2 is called methylene. How many CH2 are there? 6. Therefore, hexamethylene. NH2 repeated 2 times. Therefore, diamine. Hexamethylene diamine. And here you have dioic acid. This acid. 6 carbon dioic acid is called adipic acid. Now this, if you repeat it with this, so you'll lose a molecule of water here, right? And what will you get? So this nitrogen will lose a molecule of water with next monomer. So your one NH bond will be free. Then CH2 as it is, NH. Now this has lost one H, this has lost OH. Then here you have C double bond O, CH2 whole 4. Here you'll show only CO because next OH will be lost with the next NH2. So the OH of this will be lost with H of nitrogen of the next monomer. So this is your nylon 6,6. Why it is called nylon 6,6? Because both the monomers have 6 carbons each. Both the monomers have 6 carbons each. Now, this third classification is the classification of monomers based on the force of attraction. So I have classified them as elastomers, fibers, thermoplastic, thermosetting. So elastomers, in elastomers, the polymeric chain, one polymeric chain, two polymeric chain. The force of attraction between two chains in chain is very weak. So force of interaction between two chain is weakest intermolecular force, that is van der Waals force. Then those polymers are called elastomers. Since the chain between two chain, the force is very weak, so you can easily stretch them. They are elastic. Because the force is weak, you can easily extend the force. You can pull the force. So it is Buna S, Buna N, neoprene. Neoprene is also a rubber. All three of them are examples of synthetic rubber. So all synthetic rubber, this is how you can remember. Rubbers are elastic. So all rubbers are examples of your elastomers. Okay? Now, fibers. What are fibers? So fibers are the species in which the polymeric chains are held by hydrogen bonds. Between two chains, this is chain 1, chain 2. Between two chains, there is a hydrogen bond between two chains. Now the force is strong. Hydrogen bond is a stronger force, right? Examples are nylon 6,6, terylene. Terylene and nylon 6,6 are the examples. Thermoplastic. These are the substances which when you heat will become soft. When you cold will become hard, right? So soften on heating, harden on cooling are called thermoplastics. Example, polythene. Obviously, when you burn polythene, it will melt. After cooling, it will solidify very hard. So polythene, polyvinyl chloride, polystyrene, polyteflon. Now in this, if you see the monomers, polythene monomer is CH2 double bond CH2. Polyvinyl chloride CH2 double bond CHCl. Polystyrene CH2 double bond CH phenyl. Teflon CF2 double bond CF2. So all of them are ethene derivative. So all ethene derivatives form thermoplastics. Easy to remember, correct? All natural rubber form elastomers, correct? All right. Now, the thermoplastics can be reused. Remember, they can be reused. Now let's move to the next set of definitions. Let's move towards the next set of definitions. What are those? What are the next set of definitions you need to know? Thermosetting polymers. What are thermosetting polymers? Thermosetting polymers. These are the polymers which become hard on heating and cannot be remolded. Thermoplastic ke saath the easy part is you can melt them and you can cool them to give them their original shape. But thermosetting means when you heat it, it cannot be further change its shape by heating. Once heated, it will permanently change its shape. Example, electrical switches. They are made up of backlight. Electrical switches are made up of backlight. When you burn your electrical switch, right, it will take some random shape. You cannot again heat it and bring it to the same shape. So they are thermosetting. They cannot be reused, correct? They cannot be reused. Now, preparation of some important polymers. LDP, HDP are known as low density polythene, high density polythene, right? They are manufactured when you heat ethene. This is ethene, right? So when you heat ethene to a temperature of 350 to 570 Kelvin under high pressure, this much pressure, then you get low density polythene. What is the difference between this? Between the two chains, what kind of intermolecular force exists? That decides whether your density of polythene is high or low. Okay? It is prepared by heating ethene to about 333 to 443 Kelvin under low pressure of 6 to 7 atmosphere. So it's easy to remember. For low density polythene, temperature pressure should be high. For high density polythene, temperature pressure should be low. Okay? Now during this, you add a catalyst. What is the catalyst during the polymerization of ethene? Ziegler-Natta catalyst. That is triethyl aluminium. That means AlR3 and titanium tetrachloride, TiCl4. This is known as Ziegler-Natta catalyst. It is a catalyst in polymerization of ethene. Now, coming back, this is used in making buckets, dustbin, baskets, etc. Teflon. Teflon ka monomer is CF2 double bond CF2. When you do the polymerization of this, break the bond into single bond and repeat it for how many times? 10 times. This is your Teflon. It is also called it is also called yes. It is also called PTFE, polytetrafluoroethene. This is tetrafluoroethene. Polymer of this tetrafluoroethene is what? Polytetrafluoroethene. It is used for non-sticky utensils. Your non-sticky pans, they have a coating of Teflon on it. Correct? Now pan. What is pan? Polyacrylonitrile or Orlon. Polyacrylonitrile or Orlon. It is obtained by addition polymerization of acrylonitrile. Right? Acrylonitrile. What is your acrylonitrile? As far as I remember correct, this is your acrylonitrile. Single bond should be there. Yes. Acrylonitrile. Right? Cyano group on ethene. Now, nylon 6. Nylon 6 also known as Perion. It is obtained by caprolactam. Right? What is caprolactam? It's a 7-membered ring having CONH bond. 7-membered ring having CONH bond is called caprolactam. Now, nylon 6,6 we have already discussed previously. Why it is called 6,6? Because there are 6 carbons in both the monomers, right? Now, nylon 6,6 and nylon 6, there is a amide linkage between them, CONH bond. Therefore, they are called polyamides. Terylene or Dacron. Terylene or Dacron. They are called polyesters. Their monomers are ethylene, glycol, and phthalic acid. This is also easy, guys. If you want, you can draw terylene easily. See here. So ethylene glycol and phthalic acid. Right? You can eliminate a molecule of water. Next OH ka O will be continued. OCO. Right? Phthalic acid. Just a minute. Yes. So CO will be continued in the, just a minute. We'll write only CO part. Next will be continued in polymer. So this is your Dacron or terylene, ethylene glycol and terephthalic acid. Okay? Now, yes. Coming to natural rubber. Rubber is important. It has been asked many times in exam. So natural rubber is what? Isoprene. Rubber is a polymer of isoprene. It is a polymer of isoprene, that is 2-methyl-butadiene. So butadiene is CH2, double bond CH, CH double bond CH2. Now 1, 2, second position if you take methyl and carry out the polymerization of this. How will you carry out polymerization of this? Break the bonds like this. So CH2, CH double bond CH, CH2. Here CH ki jagah you have methyl. So this carbon 1 bond is free. This carbon 1 bond is free. N times. This is isoprene. This is polyisoprene. Polyisoprene is also called natural rubber. Now natural rubber is very hard. To improve its property, we carry out vulcanization of rubber. What is vulcanization of rubber? It is a process in which rubber is added with 3 to 5% sulfur at 373 to 415 Kelvin. Right? So this temperature pe you add 3 to 5% sulfur. Right? What does sulfur do here? Let's say this is a chain. This is a chain. Sulfur goes and forms a linkage between these two chains so that stretchability will increase. It can stretch easily. Otherwise, the layers are separate. right? They are no, when you try to extend them, they will break. There is no elasticity in the rubber, correct? Rubber containing 20 to 25% of sulfur is called aubenite, right? Vulcanization first was carried out by this company called Goodyear. It is still there in India, this company. In fact, it is there in my hometown only, Goodyear. Okay, we have a circle named after Goodyear, Goodyear Chowk. Okay. Now, synthetic rubber. What is synthetic rubber examples? Neoprene, Bunayan. What is the neoprene made up of? It is made up of chloroprene. What is chloroprene? Isoprene, mein you have methyl, replace it by chlorine. That's all. CH2, double bond CH, Cl. Here you have CH, double bond CH2. This is your chloroprene. Carry out the polymerization of this like this, you'll get neoprene, correct? Neoprene is a polymer of chloroprene. Buna N and Buna S, right? So acrylonitrile and Buna butadiene. So I told you how to remember. N stands for nitrile. N stands for nitrile. Buna S mein S stands for styrene, right? So remember the monomers, they are important. Now here I have mentioned all the polymers here. First I have taken the addition polymer examples, right? These are the addition polymer examples. Low density polythene, high density polythene, how they are formed, what are their uses. Polypropene is formed by the polymerization of propene. What is its uses? PAN is formed by acrylonitrile. I have just told you acrylonitrile, right? So vinyl chloride, polyvinyl chloride monomer is vinyl chloride. What is its use? It is used in raincoats, shower curtains, manufacture of vinyl flooring, etc. Right? So Teflon also have discussed with you, right? So these are different polymers. These are all addition polymers, no condensation. Similarly, I have mentioned here nylon 6. I told you, right? Nylon 6 is monomer is caprolactam. Its uses are, it is used for the manufacture of carpets, bristles, brushes, elastic hosiery, stockings, fishing nets, etc. Correct? Now, similarly, nylon 6 is used as same uses as nylon 6, right? So all the melamine, bakelite is a monomers of bakelite is phenol and formaldehyde. Actually, you should read textbook for this. I have just summarized the whatever is given in textbook in 3 to 4 pages, right? Here, just now I discussed with you terephthalic acid with ethylene glycol gives you Tecron or Terilene, right? This is Gliptal monomers. The difference between Dacron and Glipton, both are polyesters because there is a ester bond. COH and OH will combine to form ester bond. Here you take 1,4-dioic acid. Here you take 1,2-dioic acid. That's the only difference in the monomer, right? So let us do some questions on this. Yeah, this thing is important, guys. I don't know whether you have studied or not. Polydispersity index. So since there are a lot of monomers, every monomer has a different mass. So for polymer, we find average mass. So there are two types of average. Number average. Let us say M1 is the mass of one monomer, second monomer, third monomer. How many monomers are present like having the mass M1? N1. So N1 M1 plus N2 M2 plus N3 N3 divided by N1 plus N2 gives you number average. Okay? Now, weighted average, what do? You just square it up. N1 M1 square, N2 M2 square, N3 M3 square. Just square it up. And denominator you take N1 M1 plus N2 M2 plus N3 M3. So this is your called weighted average. Now both the average mass, if you take, you can define polydispersity index as the ratio of weight average molar mass by number average molar mass, right? These two. So if the polydispersity for natural polymers, PDI is 1 and more than 1 for synthetic polymer. For natural polymer, it is 1, more than 1 for synthetic polymer. Polydispersity index is not less than 1. It is not less than 1, either greater than 1 or equal to 1. Equal to 1 for natural polymer, greater than 1 for synthetic polymers, right? Let us take some question on this. Yes. Now this is easy for you to answer. I have already told this in class just now. So let us do this and finish this off. I will upload these notes, but I would suggest you to go through textbook every line. I would suggest you to read every line of textbook for this chapter. I will suggest you to read. By the way, guys, do not consider this as two double bond. Do not consider this as two double bond. It is a single bond only. Single double bond. Okay? Yes. Very good. Now see, what happens is, if you try to by heart everything in polymers, it is very difficult. Right? Neoprene is obtained from chloroprene. What is chloroprene? Butadiene के second position पे chloro. What is isoprene? Butadiene के second position पे methyl. That is how you remember. Otherwise, you can never remember everything. Buna S. Bu stands for butadiene. S stands for styrene. Buna N. Buna N. Bu stands for butadiene. N stands for nitrile. What is acrylonitrile? Ethene में one hydrogen replaced by CN. What is vinyl chloride? Ethene में one hydrogen replaced by Cl. What is styrene? Ethene में one hydrogen replaced by phenyl. That is how you remember easily. Otherwise, it's difficult to remember everything. Yes. Let's end this. Most of you are correct here. The polymer here is indeed C. This is chloroprene, right? So let's go ahead. Yeah. Which of the following is a chain growth polymer? It is again easy. Which polymers are chain growth polymer? Addition polymers. Addition polymers are chain growth polymers. Remember, addition polymers are chain growth polymers. So this is easy for you to answer. Don't think it's a difficult question. Right? Chain growth polymers are addition polymers. Chain growth polymers are addition polymers. Are? Yes. This is easy. Do not mess it up. All right. So let's end this on account of 3, 2, 1. Now. Yes, guys. So just all of you know this. Amino acids. NH2 eliminate water molecule. So water molecule is eliminated. That means proteins are condensation polymers, not addition polymers. Right? They are condensation polymers. Right? Starch. How is starch formed? Starch is a polysaccharide. Polysaccharide is having glycosidic linkage. Glycosidic linkage, how it is formed? By the loss of OH and H. So this is also formed by loss of water molecule. Polysaccharides are formed by loss of water molecule. Nucleic acids, H of nitrogenous base, OH of sugar. This is also formed by loss of water molecule. Polystyrene is correct. Polystyrene is correct. What is your styrene? In ethene, replace one hydrogen by phenyl. This is your styrene. Polymerization of this, break the bond. CH, single bond, CH2. Free bond, and one phenyl group here. That's all. This is how you'll form, right? This is your polymer. Just repeat styrene. Now here you are not eliminating. This is addition polymer. So it is styrene is the answer, right? Now this is also easy. This is also easy. The polymers which can be used for lubrication of an insulator. Lubrication means to prevent something from heat and all. Now you should understand what is PTFE. I have already told you, right? What is PTFE? I have already told you. PAN also you know. PVC is polyvinyl chloride. SBR is a natural rubber. Not, sorry, synthetic rubber. Shamita, check again. Shamita, check again. All right. So please go at it fast. Yes. Tell me what happened. Good man. What is happening bad? Is it? Okay. I'll check that out. If you have told, I'll check this. All right. So let's end this. Yeah. So yes, I'll show it to you. Saying won't help here. See here. See here. Teflon. It is used for lubrication. Okay. So the correct answer here is Teflon. Right? The correct answer here is Teflon. I don't know why you guys answered. Oh, now I understood why you answered D. Just a minute. Just a minute. Now I understood why you answered D. Yes. But PVC pipes are used for lubrication. No. PVC is not used for lubrication. As far as I remember, Teflon is only used for lubrication. Right? It is resistant to heat. Teflon. Just check it out. In case you have doubt, let me know. Most likely it is Teflon only, if I remember correct. PVC is used for preventing something from rusting and all. PVC pipes and all. Right? This is pretty easy. Backlight is a polymer of. I'm not going to give you this. It's phenol and formaldehyde. Right? Now this thing you can say. This is also easy. Let us take a different one. Yeah. Let's answer this one. Let's answer this one. This you have to judge yourself. Monomer of this polymer would be. What is the correct monomer of this polymer? What is the correct monomer of this polymer? Last question of the day. All right. Bharat, check again and answer. Monomer of this polymer would be. Yes, Sudhanva. All right. So let's end this. This is pretty easy. We are up with the time also. Yeah. See, this bond is free. This bond is free. If you want to write its monomer, this bond became free. This bond also became free after breaking a pi bond here. So just add a pi bond here. You'll get a monomer. So what is this monomer name? Longest chain. 1, 2, 3. So it is propene. And second position, there is a methyl. So it is 2-methyl propene. Right? That's all for today, guys. Tomorrow we'll finish Chemistry Day Life also. And we'll wind up your syllabus. But don't worry, we will be available throughout your 1 month more is there for your exams. So we'll be available for doubts. We'll do doubt solving sessions also. You'll keep writing test. We'll keep scheduling the test also, right? If at all you need any other support from our end, you can let us know. So tomorrow we'll finish Chemistry Live. Yes. Thank you all. Thank you for joining in. Have a good day ahead. NCERT is more than enough for last 3 chapters. NCERT is God. NCERT is God. If I have time, I never teach like this. I teach every line of NCERT. Because I know every line of NCERT is important. NCERT is God for these 3 chapters. Sorry, wrong. NCERT is Bible for these 3 chapters for you. So do not try to act smart. I would suggest read NCERT properly. Read NCERT properly. I've just given you a brief synopsis of this chapter and what kind of problems can come. Inorganic plus these 3 chapters, I would suggest you beta read NCERT line by line. That is more than enough. NEET method definitely more than enough. CET also. All right, Anaga, I hope that helps you out. Flowcharts, I don't believe in, Anaga. I believe in theoretical topics. You can't make flowchart, to be honest. Because there'll be one small word also, if you miss in it, you are gone. So in theoretical topics, I believe that you should read it again and again. Daily, you should wake up, read it. Daily, you should wake up and read it. When you read it again and again, you'll remember more stuff. And when you read something, make questions out of it. Okay, you have read one paragraph. What question can come on that paragraph? That's a better approach. Flowchart helps in those cases where you have concepts. Here, you don't have concepts. You have to remember everything. All right. Yes, that's all from my end. Thank you for joining in. Have a good day ahead. Prepare well for test. Yes, your questions are uploaded on the drive.